Hey folks, we're back with another episode of Three Men and an Anime. Huzzah!
Hooray!
This is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friends and co-hosts, Eric Carlson and Gav Leaf. How are you guys doing tonight?
I am existing.
Yeah, I was
I'm
going to say,
actually doing all right.
I am pretty much sums it up, yeah.
Yeah. So this week we are covering Gav's most recent series selection, Cells at Work, Season 1, since Season 2 is coming up somewhat soon from what I understand.
Might even have started.
I don't know exactly when. I just know it's coming up at some point. But yeah, so Cells at Work. We watched an edutainment show.
Yeah, I'd kind of wanted to get around to this because every reviewer that I listen to, every other video producer, whatever else in podcast, they always say, yeah, it's a cool little show. I like this show. Okay, it's worth giving a watch. I'm like, okay, maybe it's like some sort of serialized like anthropomorphism of the human body, and it kind of is to that degree, but no, it's not. There's no story as such. It's edutainment.
Yep.
It's not bad edutainment.
No, it's I was
Fountains of blood.
So much blood.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about the red blood cell characters.
No. So yeah, the cast of the show are the cells of the body. We mostly focus in on two of them, a red blood cell and a white blood cell.
It is primarily the circulatory system.
Yeah.
In general, and a very hard focus on the immune system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very hard to focus. This show is much more about less about how things work and more about how the body beats the fuck out of anything that tries to to try and come in and cause trouble.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, we primarily follow red blood cell AE3803. We're just going to call her red blood cell because that's what they basically.
Yeah.
And white blood cell U1146. We're going to call him white blood cell.
Who, despite there being billions of all of these different cells, have an uncanny habit of running into each other.
All over the place. Now, part of this is because...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is just narrative convenience.
There's that, but it's also the red blood cell we follow. She has this really awful knack for being on the scene when bad shit is happening.
Mostly because
she also gets lost all the time.
Yeah, she does not know her ass from her elbow, and when you're inside the body, that's a fucking good trick.
No, I'm not sure if this is ever confirmed, but I know she's got like a little like hair swipey thing. I was like, oh. Sickle cell anemia. That makes sense. She sucks at her job, just like sickle cell. With
it's possible. It's not mentioned in the wiki. I don't know.
Yeah, they never mention it, but yeah, it is a possibility.
I would not be surprised if that was the joke, but she is the only one like that. So
yeah.
Whereas the white blood cell is very, very, very good at his job. He's not the most badass of the immune system cells in the show, but
no, those ones wear dresses.
They do.
They're very
not with the
sweet with their
macrophage.
cleavers and yeah. They're very sweet and soft spoken with their giant cleavers and spiked mauls and whatnot.
Oh, they have very, very, very much have big sister energy. The macrophages
really
are great. They're a lot of fun. The main one we run into is voiced by the woman who does Balalaika's voice in Black Lagoon.
Yeah, which adds an extra fucking level to that.
It really does.
It does. Yeah, that's one of the few times where like knowing the voice actor's previous work, you're like, oh, that's a good flex. Okay, that makes.
But yeah, so it's basically the structure of the show is basically here's a potential problem that the body can run into. Here's how the body defends itself against this problem. And sometimes, the body can't defend itself against this problem. It needs outside help. See heat stroke.
See the fucking steroids.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the steroid bot. Yeah.
Steroid Terminator. Uh,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it does have like a it's a relatively large cast but it's less so much individuals. I mean, there's like a handful of individuals we meet over and over, but it's just this whole like ensemble of these are cells of this particular type. This is what they do,
right.
and really amusing ways of, as I mentioned, anthropomorphizing their
Yep.
actions. Like, for example, one of the best little tricks that they do. The white blood cells. They're basically they're like Peter said, they're not the most badass the immune system has, but they are the patrolmen. They're always in the circulatory system, which is why he keeps bumping into red.
Yep.
They're just wandering around. But when they detect an invading parasite or bacteria or something like that, they have the ability to move between cells. They can literally phase through move through a cell wall to get to the threat. They show this in Cells at Work because it's basically a huge city. They know their way through all the vents. They are literally fucking sus as fuck. they just pop out of fucking like heating vents, air vents, sewer vents, and just pop up in there.
Scooby-Doo style secret doors, the kind that spin around.
That was someone else.
Yeah.
It was still a white. It was still a white blood cell. It was like the monocyte or something.
Well,
it was the monocyte. Yeah.
It was the monocyte,
Yeah.
which is apparently what a variant on the macrophage when they're not in like certain areas of the body. I learned stuff in this show. It's an actual good. It's a good entertainment show. You actually learn shit, assuming that it's accurate. And from what I understand from seeing some stuff, it's pretty accurate outside of some of the license they take to anthropomorphize stuff.
But as you can see there from the image on the artwork there, the white blood cell, they're brandishing his large combat knife, and boy does he get some use out of that thing.
Yeah, he does.
He has two. He does dual wield occasionally.
Yep. He also has a habit of biting them and eating them every now and again because that's what white blood cells do.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like a bunch of the cells in the body are all like abjectly terrified of the white blood cells and the various immune system stuff. Except for our protagonist, red blood cell, who basically has gotten to know them outside of being, when they go out and murder other cells. It's like, oh, you've been infected by you've been taken over by a pathogen. I'm sorry, I have to kill you now. Except they don't say the "I'm sorry" part; they just murder you.
Yeah. Oh, that's one thing they do. Yeah, they don't sugarcoat this at all. It's like, oh, that cell's been infected by a virus. Well, knife, split.
The viruses look like very silly hats.
Yeah, a lot of them do. Yeah. The ones that sort of take over and corrupt other cells in the body, they do that. Yeah, it's sort of very much framed as a zombie infection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like this huge city full of dudes in white t-shirts who are basically the normal average cells of the body, which their entire job is just to divide and make more of themselves.
Right.
They're typically the ones that can get infected. You've got the Reds that are running around and doing all the circulation, who are depicted as delivery people, literally just all day, every day, just delivering oxygen, taking CO2, nutrients, blah, 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 which look like huge fucking hoagies. It's like, the way they just, like, rationalize these things is great.
Oh, yeah.
You've got the whites just running around, like I say, patrolling. And on top of that, you've also got the platelets, who are quite possibly the most adorable thing in all of anime.
They really are.
Yeah, the platelets are these little, like, little like sort of elementary school kids, basically, wandering around in large groups and fixing stuff, and being just goddamn adorable.
They are the world's most efficient construction workers, and they look like they're 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got like the oversized T-shirts and little like baseball caps, and they're just
They look like what
fucking precious.
They look a lot like Hagakure from Nishijo.
Yeah.
That's what they make me think of.
Yeah.
They're not quite. mad sciencey enough.
Well, they're not mad scientists at all.
No, because they're undyingly sweet and adorable.
Yep. The main one we run into, who basically forms a friendship with our red blood cell, her voice was really familiar to me. I could not place it for a while, so that's one of the ones I looked up. Yeah, the one I recognized her from was from Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. She's Kana.
Right.
I'm shocked.
The world's most adorable dragon. Oh my god! But yeah, there are a few voice actors in here that you're like, oh, I know that voice. Oh, we can't forget the killer T cells because they're hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, the killer T cells are basically the military arm of the immune system.
Yeah.
They live in the lymph node.
Yep.
And never deploy unless a serious threat is detected, and are sent out. There's this whole like chain of command. They've got commanders, they've got killers, they've got the controllers, the junior naive cells as they're called. And they all wear these fucking hats that tell you exactly which ones they are. Literally, killer, naive, regulator, helper,
Yeah.
commander.
They run around in black paramilitary gear, and they're big buff people. Be
they shout a
male
great
or
deal.
female, because it's equal opportunity. As long as you can punch the fuck out of a virus, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, they don't use knives. They punch the fuck out of everyone.
Yeah, one of the naives eventually gets activated and goes up to the next stage up, and dear God, he's right out of a JoJo.
Yeah,
The
JoJo.
effector,
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
The effector is literally drawn in Iraqi style. It's amazing.
The huge fucking quiff of hair.
Yep.
Oh, the mast cell. Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading somebody in the chat there. Yeah. The mast cell is this. She looks like an overworked office worker who's been left in a position she's not entirely sure about, but as long as she follows the guidebook, everything will be fine. Except it's not.
Well, yeah, because the one where she gets her most focus is in the allergic reaction episode.
Right.
Which is, the allergic reaction is, yep, here's what we're supposed to do. All right, yep. And the body's like, but that this is the reaction we have to something that is actually doing damage, and it's not. So it's not actually helping.
Yeah, if you ever wondered why they call the drugs you take for hay fever antihistamines, this episode explains exactly why.
Yeah. Yeah, follow the guidebook to the letter with no consideration for anyone else.
Yes,
Yep, exactly.
There's this is happening. Okay, flood the area with histamines. What? No. Oh, it doesn't seem to be helping. More histamines.
But yeah, the lead killer T cell is voiced by the guy whose voices Jotaro in JoJo's, and it's absolutely fucking perfect.
Yeah, really is.
The casting choices in the show are just goddamn spot on. It's great. It's not, again, there's no real plot. The closest thing to a plot is the red blood cell getting very slightly better at her job.
Yeah.
She does actually have something maybe vaguely approaching an arc.
She does. And we actually do eventually see what her actual strength and her job, what she's good, what the thing she's actually good at in her job, it turns out. She has one actual strength. Mm-hmm. And dear God, it's actually helpful in the episode it happens in. Well, it's the two-parter. But yeah,
I honestly can't remember what it was.
Oh, that was the next. That was the last two-parter when she had her trainee that was working under her.
Oh, right.
Which we'll get to in a second. Yeah. But yeah, so we go through basically, a scrape, our introductory episode, minor infection from an abrasion, influenza, food poisoning, allergic reactions.
I mean, they do try and show the severity that it causes to the body.
Oh yeah,
like the minor scrape is literally a fucking city block just disappearing into a pit.
Yeah,
like the opening to Made in Abyss. Just this fucking huge sinkhole opens up in the middle of the city and into the void. They're never cheesy enough to like show you the outside world or anything like that, outside the body or anything like that. And you don't get this sudden like rush of red blood cells diving out the hole, although it does kind of happen. But they insinuate that's what bleeding is.
Yep.
But yeah, you get this massive sinkhole opens up and everything's wrecked and all of the viruses and Dragon Ball villains that were living on the surface of the skin decide to dive in and attack and take their opportunity. And there's and then there's this huge response of masses of white blood cells pop out and start fighting them off, but they're having trouble. Then the macrophage turn up and it's just like fucking beat down. And it's like,
Well, the best part about the scrape wound, the abrasion, the scrape bit is like they're fighting. The viruses are basically, haha, you're barely holding us off, etc. What you could possibly do? And the white blood cells like, yeah, actually, I'm just buying time for the actual solution to the problem. What? Here comes your worst nightmare. In walk the platelets. And the virus is like, the fuck? And all of a sudden, wait, there's no pit underneath me now. Nope. Uh-oh.
They're not viruses. They're bacteria.
Bacteria. You're
right. The viruses are the silly hats that like attach to cells and turn them into zombies.
Yeah, bacteria are actual organisms. That,
so the bacteria. It's just like uh-oh. It was a staph bacterium, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That he was talking to. There's a full episode on staph later, but yeah. By the way, midway through the season is when they cover cancer.
Yeah, which again, you learn shit. It's like obviously cancer being one of those really serious things. It's like you don't realize that. Yeah, don't worry about it. Like the body is almost always producing cancerous cells. It just deals with them.
Yeah.
It's only all a cancerous cell is a cell that's tried to divide and fucked up somewhere.
Yep. And
it's only when the body stops dealing with them that they become a problem. You are always producing cancerous cells.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like,
So there's
okay.
There's a cancerous cell and it's trying to survive. It's trying to survive. It's just a cell. It just it's misshapen and doing it's
going a little Cronenberg. It's got a small case of the Cronenbergs.
Yeah, and it's and it's damaging the environment around it. And it's eating too much. It's taking up too many nutrients and such, so it has to be put down. But like it's like, yeah, it's just another cell. It's just unfortunately it's one that really can't be allowed to survive in the body. So it gets taken out. Well,
I mean, frankly, I would have preferred them to do more of like a Ponzi scheme sort of situation with the cancer cells, because pretty much what cancer cells do and why they're dangerous, they just chew up all the resources and prevent any other parts of your body from getting them.
But yeah, they have they have a couple of episodes are like backgrounds on like the life cycle of a particular type of cell. There's the heat stroke episode, which is goddamn hilarious.
The heat stroke one is great.
Yeah.
Showing how all the different ways the body tries to cope, can't, shuts down.
Yep. It's funny and it's simultaneously bleak. It's like, oh fuck, heat stroke's serious shit, because the body's like, yeah, I don't know, like the body's like, we're doing everything we can and nothing's working. We can't regulate heat because we've used up all the liquid in the body. We don't have enough salt or water. We're doomed. Oh, here comes an infusion of saline solution. Oh, we're so much better off now. Thank God. And then yeah, sorry.
There is a great scene in that episode where the virus that's been taunting the white blood cell the entire time. Bacteria, yeah, because he can't keep up. He's overheated and all the rest of it. Just shoots up from outside a fucking like river of saline that's just pops up right behind him. The bacteria just freezes for a second, does the whole oh shit, he's behind me, turns around, and the white's just there. That was refreshing. Stab.
Oh, it's fun. But yeah, the big two-parter is.
Sorry, you just see like it peels back and it shows Red and a couple of other blood cells looking over in the corner, just seeing this huge arterial spray repeatedly over and over, and it's like, Yeah, I wouldn't go near him for a while.
But yeah, so then there's the two-parter where Red's finally sort of gotten her head on a bit more straight than etc. She sort of she's gotten a better job. So this is the point where she's given a trainee basically. Um, and her trainee is hyper competent. Basically, she knows she's book smart, very good at what she does, knows everything, knows all the basics and such, and is but is generally seems like a fairly decent sort, honestly, but is a little exasperated with Red, our the Red we're following, because she's an airhead and not very good at stuff, and Red knows this and is very sort of worried about being a proper sort of mentor, and not being very good at it, and very sad about that. But she's plugging on because that's sort of what she does, and then the bad shit. Well, first off, she starts introducing the trainee to all her friends in their different types of cells, and the trainee's like, "Well, why would you? Wait, your friends the white blood cell? Yeah, they're psychos. No, he's really nice.
Nice. He's sitting there like friggin' like having a conversation while stabbing the fuck out of some sort of bacteria
and eating it,
occasionally taking bites out of it.
But she's right. He's a sweetheart. It's just And it's like, yeah, like if you're infected if the cell's infected with the virus, yeah, sorry, can't spare you any thoughts about any niceties. You got to go now, because it's you're a danger to the body. You got to go. And so then she gets lost a few times and such, but she eventually is like, no, I got to do this right, and starts doing things. And just as she's actually figuring out her directions again, is when the bad shit happens.
Yeah.
The title for the two-parter is Hemorrhagic Shock. We're fairly certain that from the effect they used, it's pretty clear the body got shot. But it's basically like an atomic bomb goes off.
Yeah. Shot or like got hit by something moving at close to sonic speeds.
Yeah.
They mention over a Tannoy announcement that the body has taken heavy damage around the head and neck.
Yep.
They never explain what it was because the body doesn't know what it was.
Right.
Just that there's damage.
And they show different ways the body reacts to that sort of wound. First off, it cuts down the circulation to the extremities. Keeps everything towards the core to keep the body alive. And in certain situations, it will just like, oh crap, we got to keep the blood flowing. It's like, we're not getting enough oxygen in the area. We got to increase the blood flow. Therefore, we'll increase blood pressure, which forces more blood out the wounds. It's like,
which it's a great way they show it. Basically, the red blood cells are trying to edge along a tiny like crevasse, like on a cliff face, using nothing more than a guide rope, because the path that they would normally take is damage. They've got to try and get that way, and then all of a sudden, as somebody increases the blood pressure, they start pushing each other and falling off. And as one of the red blood cells falling off, he's like screaming, "Don't increase the blood pressure where there's a hole, you jackass!"
It's very well done, and
then it goes back to the command room, and the second in command saying, "Sir, I don't understand it. We're losing more blood cells because we increased the blood pressure." Oh shit! Because again, they're representative of the body. They're reacting how the body works without, even though they're applying a personality and intelligent thought to the characters. The body doesn't respond with intelligent thought; it reacts.
Right. Well, yeah, again, it's the body's. It's like, oh, we're not getting enough oxygen in this area. We need to pump more blood to that area. Therefore, we must increase the blood pressure.
Yes.
It doesn't know why that you can't get blood to that area. But yeah, and so the trainee things start going really bad, and like it's the body's getting colder because it's losing blood, and it's going into hemorrhagic shock, and like which is represented by becoming very cold and snowy, and there's almost no red blood cells around. And so Red is taking extra boxes of oxygen, and her trainee's like, "Look, we're doomed. The body is doomed. Why are you keeping on?" And like Red's like, "What else can we do? We got to try at least."
Yeah, it's the other options to lie down and die, and that seems kind of boring to me. So I'm going to keep trying.
And her trainee kind of freaks out about it, and like Red goes on, and like she just can't go on. She passes out in the snow and it's like freezing death when blood transfusion time, which is great. But she's woken up by her red blood cells she has never ever seen before. And she's like wearing slightly different outfits because they're from a different body.
Slightly different uniform, but like, hey, who are you and where are we? What do you mean? You're here. Who are you? We're red blood cells. Oh. Do you want to transport this? Like, well, this isn't where we came from, but sure, sounds like our job.
Yeah, they explain. We were put in we were taken out of the body we're in, stored somewhere, and put to sleep for a while. Now we woke up here. I guess it's a new body. Cool. This place looks nice, although a bit damaged. We should probably get to delivering more oxygen. It's actually a really cool episode, and the trainee comes afterwards like, oh my god. So she's like, yeah, I actually did learn shit from you, like, don't give up, and having an actual passion for your job is actually important.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, senpai.
It's like she was on about. She was saying like, "Oh, are you just trying to show off in front of your trainee?" And it's like, "No, I'm just doing my fucking job."
Yeah. And the trainee she figures that out, and it's really cool. And Red sort of starts talking to her and realizes that her trainee's wandered off. And she's talking to someone she doesn't know idea who it is. It's like, you're not who I thought you were.
She's a bit of a scatterbrain.
She is.
But...
Utter sweetheart, but.
It's also that circumstance that, she's one in trillions of red blood cells. They don't make friends, they just have acquaintances.
Mm. Well, they kind of do, but,
I'd say she's friends with white blood cell.
Well, she's got, her senpai that she was fairly friendly with.
Yeah. Hmm. And she gets along well with those two platelet kids we keep seeing.
Yes. I mean, that the likelihood of that actually happening, if they were, is slim. But hey,
yeah,
who cares? It works. And they end the episode with they end the season with the common cold, which is goddamn hilarious.
Oh, I mean, as I said when we watched it, I think it could have done with being further in the middle of the season because it doesn't feel like a season ender.
Apparently, it was actually sort of a special episode they just sort of tacked on at the end afterwards.
Okay.
It came out so the series ended on Hemorrhagic Shot Part 2 on September 30th of 2018.
Which explains why it's such a weird number of episodes.
And Common Cold was released in December of 2018, so it's just a random sort of extra.
But yeah, it basically turns out that the common cold is little more than a kid pranking the shit out of our immune system.
Yep. Well, and then it sort of starts taking over.
Until it's in position to take over.
Well, it is a virus, so it does what the viruses do.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing about it being like uncurable, to a degree, or just keeps coming back. They show that by it literally just runs around pranking the fuck out of every level of the immune system.
Yep.
Like doing the whole, I'm behind you, no, I'm not. I'm behind you, no, I'm not, to the white blood cells, to delivering presents with boxing gloves on springs to the killer T cells.
Swapping out all of the macrophages' giant death weapons for sporting gear.
Yep.
Which is goddamn hilarious when you see one of the macrophages killing a cold virus later with a kayak.
The macrophages care not for their murder weapons as long as they've got something large to hit you with. One crushes a tennis racket.
Yeah.
Into somebody's skull.
They look so happy when they're doing it too.
They do. They're just all smiles and happiness.
The first time they show up to actually fight something, because we saw them a couple of times, like various other ways, we're like, oh, they look all kind of sweet and such, and there's something off about them, and I had forgotten that in the opening you see a macrophage there, with, like sort of looking all sweet and maid-like, and then her hand comes up covered in blood, and you're like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah. And it turns out their other job is basically to...
They're maids.
They are maids. They clean up the dead cells. They also identify and... basically, the order to dispatch the killer T cells comes from them. They show up, identify the problem, and then send orders to the other.
Yeah, they call them the helper T cells and say, "Yep, we need the T cells out here now."
Yeah, there is also the other dude that pops up every now and again. Who is he? He's the B cell.
Yeah.
The
Mm.
B cell is another part of the immune system, which basically he runs around with a super soaker,
Yeah.
Yep.
and he creates
Antibodies.
antibodies, and hoses them down.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I want to mention though the introduction, the macrophage as a basically as a white blood cell, because that's what she is basically, is very much like you hear footsteps, you hear this grinding of metal on stone, and she walks up dragging this giant cleaver sword
Triangle
behind.
head style.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's almost pyramid head style
Yeah,
sword.
pyramid head. That's it. Yeah, sorry.
And then she hacks some virus to death with it. It's influenza. That's right. It's the influenza
Yep.
episode.
Yeah.
It's like,
And then,
whop.
and then you've got during the cancer cell episode, we also get the NK cell,
Yeah.
which is basically the super killer T cell,
Yep.
who is
Yep.
basically just a straight up assassin.
She doesn't like working with other T cells.
No.
They're too loud and stupid.
Like there's some of the random there's another one there's an episode based on food poisoning, which again I learned something. I didn't realize that there's an actual part of the white blood cell family designed to deal with actual parasites and living organisms rather than just bacteria. Turns out there is. There's also a really weird guy that walks around with an umbrella quoting poetry.
That was weird.
It is an actual cell in the body.
Yep.
But they never tell you what he does.
Well, it's
Other
because
than-
they come out and say no one's really sure what it does.
It's a basophil. It's like, okay, it's here.
He just speaks in riddle and is mysterious, and then goes away.
Yeah, the entry in the Wikipedia for it's great. A mysterious and poetic character whose real occupation is unknown, appearing during a foodborne infection to make cryptic commentaries on the disastrous events unfolding. Okay. So yeah, as we said, there's just not a lot of actual sort of plot structure. It's very episodic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. It was a lot of fun to watch through.
Now, there, like as Peter's already mentioned, there is another series in the works for this, if not already out.
But yeah, season 2 is airing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, they cover a whole bunch more stuff, from acne and dengue fever, of all things. Cancer pops up again by the look of this, and even coronavirus. They've actually got to the point where they've managed to throw in coronavirus. So that may be interesting to look at some point and take their look on it.
And there is a spin-off series called Cells at Work Black, which is looking at the internal system of a body that is being treated very, very badly by itself. You know,
it's heavily
I feel called out.
Yeah.
Well, it's specifically the title series is a reference to the black companies in Japan. Which are the ones that really heavily overwork their employees and such.
Yeah, it's implied that it's the body of a salaryman
working at one of these black companies. Actually,
working at one of these companies. Yeah, basically, just worked to hell. Not enough sleep, too much caffeine. Just wearing himself to the bone for his job and that kind of thing.
Yep. And that's what's happening to the cells in his body too, because
Yeah, I mean, it means that obviously they look into a more mature number of conditions. In fact, let me just check something. Because that is one we're going to go out of our way to watch. But, yeah, so for example, one of the first episode is smoking and the bacteria caused. The liver and alcohol. They also cover erectile dysfunction. Overwork, delirium, and hair loss, athlete's foot, stomach ulcers, gout, heart disease, cardiac arrest, and all the fun stuff: kidney stones, urinary tract infection.
Yeah.
Old people smell.
All right then.
Oh God, there's quite a lot actually. They've got 48 episodes. Okay,
Well, I think that's based on the manga that you're looking at there.
I'm very very well be, but yeah, So the more adult version is there if you prefer that. I think they do gender swap the leads as well.
They do.
The red blood cells the dude, and the white blood cells the female.
Yep. I've not watched it. I don't know much about it. I know these sort of basic premise. I've not watched it, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a neat little show, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, this is when we knew this episode wasn't going to be a long one. Like I said, I wasn't quite expecting it to be quite so episodic. Again, it's one of those shows that it's like you hear a lot of positive things about them, and I understand them. It's honestly, it's one of those shows I always had a smile on my face, just because of absurdity that goes on.
Yeah.
And the way that they they show the rationalize the functions of the body, and the regular gory violence. So much violence.
Yeah, like fountains of blood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like you there are scenes that have literal streets strewn with bodies.
Yep.
Blood everywhere. Like the worst mistake the body ever made was making this dude's uniform white.
Yeah. There's a wonderful little scene where he actually, during the episode with the trainee, like she gets kind of, he basically goes after something and like she dives to take our lead out of, from being drowned in the blood, basically. And so it shows him actually cleaning up afterwards. It's quite amusing. But yeah, it's really hard to find like things to say beyond. It's a fun, neat show, and I mean, I guess getting sort of final thoughts to some degree. But I mean, like, I do want to say, I think the animation looked pretty good for the most part. It wasn't like the best we've seen, but it was good.
It was competent. Yeah. I mean, I was never wowed by it.
No, but it was solid.
It was solid workmanship animation.
Yeah, and I like the visual design of the show overall.
Mm.
Who was it actually produced the show?
That was Studio David.
David Production, yeah.
Yeah.
The people who did the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series.
I knew there was a link. It's like,
and
oh,
Fire
look,
Force.
This character looks like a JoJo's character.
And Fire Force also.
Yes.
Which is clearly where their budget and talent went, honestly.
I mean, I will say there's some things that you can tell, like, it's David Productions. It's not the animation per se. The art's good. The sound work is great, which is something I think David Productions is just generally very good at from what I've seen. Like, the sound design in JoJo is really good. The sound design in Fire Force is incredible.
Yeah.
And it's very good in this show, too. The soundtrack's solid. It's always appropriate and gets the mood across properly, but it's not intrusive, which is it's a well done score. Like, I wouldn't go track it down to listen to it, but it does its job properly, which is great. The opening theme is utterly charming.
Yeah.
But very goofy also. Yeah, the end theme is also very sort of fun and upbeat, and it was very, very, very much felt out of place after the ending of the first part of the Hemorrhagic Shock episode.
Yeah, a little bit.
Which is our white blood cell guy sort of wandering around in a blasted wasteland with nobody inside except for, like, one of the red blood cells' hats, a glove here, and it's like just all alone, is wondering if anybody survived. It's like, and now happy ending theme.
I think the only negative as such that I would level at this show I mean, again, it would be unfair to say, oh, this, the story sucks, blah, 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 or anything like that, because that's not what this show is.
No.
It's
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be, you know, up against the sort of stuff that we normally review. But the only real negative that I had, and as much as it is edutainment, I think it did get a little bit mechanical at times. Like, okay, fair enough. You don't give the cells names. I get that, other than, you know, what they are. But like in every episode, there's a million and one like explanations and reminders and like paragraphs of stuff explaining what this is, why it does this, how it does this. And it's like, well, we've seen this in every episode, so I get doing it for the new stuff, but you know, just settle down a minute. You know, you're only a 12 episode series, well, 13 episode series. You know, we don't need to be reminded of this all the time. It kind of reminds me of the My Hero Academia, when they insist on putting the title and quirk under every character every time they speak. Which is fine when it's like the first episode of the season or a catch-up episode or something like that, but not every episode. Come on.
I will say, given that it would bother me more if it wasn't what it is, which is an entertainment series. But
Yes,
yeah, I agree with you for the most part. It was it got a little repetitive in some spots, but I think it was overall fine.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I mean, I know they went out of their way to try and find original and interesting things.
Yep.
But the majority of the episodes do boil down to something's invading the body. Death, death, murder, death, 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 spurt, spurt, spurt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of, my opinion on that is this show works a lot better like as a weekly thing as opposed to
I would say.
Oh yeah,
this definitely would work better as a weekly watch. I agree. This is not one of the more bingeable shows. We did, and it was fine. But like,
this is the sort of show that would have been great for us as our our primer.
Yeah, as our aperitif, so to speak.
Whenever we sit down to do the watch party for these shows, we always watch a couple of current anime at the time, you know, just to get ourselves into the anime watching mood and try to keep up with the deluge of fucking anime coming out right now.
Yes.
This would have been the perfect show for like one episode a week. Great, that's hilarious. Okay, now onto the main course.
Yeah, I mean it's part of the nature of being part of it is because it's so episodic. I mean, but yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing at all.
I mean,
no.
Episodic's great. It's just
it's just that it's not one of those you want. You don't want to binge most episodic shows.
No.
Especially an episodic entertainment show.
Hey, at least it wasn't a 24 episode show, though.
Oh God, no. No, it did not overstay its welcome either. I will say that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even the most hardcore anime fan will, and I think this is why it does get so many positive reviews. Is that it? Like you said, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't try to be anything more than it is.
Yep.
It's completely harmless, but is genuinely entertaining.
Yep.
And if you pay attention, you might just learn something.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we just sort of move into final thoughts at this point.
Yeah, told you it'd be a quick episode.
Yeah,
it's a quick episode.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it was. So so me, then Eric, then Gav. Since Gav's selection, he gets the last word. Yeah, I liked the show a lot. It was a lot of fun. I learned something. I which surprised me. I thought my knowledge of biology was better than it was. So I learned a few things, which is great. I think that's really cool. As I said, the art design is. I love the character designs and the sort of the way the environment designs are great. I love the visual allegories. The visual sort of, and allegory is not the right word. Visual metaphors that use to convey what things are in the body. Like, I like the gonging bell they use to represent the heartbeat in the heart.
Yep.
I thought that was really clever. The delivery of the cylinders of oxygen and picking up the discarded carbon dioxide ones is really cool. As Gab pointed out, the representation of the nutrients the body's delivering is basically just being giant like sandwiches and such, was hilarious.
And your favorite thing, or at least the one that you laughed at every single fucking time that we haven't mentioned yet.
What?
The sneezes.
Oh, the
Oh,
sneeze
yeah.
missiles. Oh my god, the sneeze missiles. Oh, those were great. The opening episode, the body was getting rid of some sort of bacteria, and what they ended up doing is instead of killing it, because they weren't able to do so, they just shoved it into a missile, a sneeze rocket, and fired out of the nose. It was great.
Yep.
Sneezes are represented by ballistic fucking MIRV missiles that explode, like split into Macross missiles, and fire out the nose with a purr on the end.
It's hilarious. Oh my god, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a really clever little show. But yeah, it's not like the best.
It's not. It's not going to blow your mind.
No.
It's not. It's not going to change your worldview. It's
But it's a fun show to like watch an episode of it every now and then, and it won't take you that long to get through all of them. I wouldn't recommend binging it. But yeah, that the sound design was good, the soundtrack was fine, the score was fine. It was very competently done, which is always nice to see. And as much as there wasn't like a plot or a lot of character development, I liked the characters. I liked the red blood cell, I liked the white blood cell. They were both fun characters to follow around, and the platelets were adorable. The T cells were hysterical. The gap moe of the macrophage is one of the most hilarious things I've seen in ages. See, oh look, it's this sort of attractive Onesan maid with a giant fucking cleaver that murders the shit out of viruses and bacteria. That's fucking cool.
It's just fun, honestly. Just a lot of fun.
And I had a lot of fun with it, yeah. So I highly recommend it. So Eric, you're up.
So yeah, I think I would have enjoyed this show a lot more if it was just if we were doing it like a weekly thing as opposed to binging it. Because I did find myself sort of running towards empty at the end, as opposed to wanting more, as I often do with some of the more plot intensive, actual plot, not plot intensive shows that we've done. But yeah, it was fun. It was funny. I also learned things like I did not know what a macrophage was until I saw this. There are a lot of neat things that I thought, like Peter, I thought I knew more than I did.
Yeah. I like being proven wrong in that sort of thing.
Yeah. And it was just fun and silly. The macrophages are hilarious with their like Lolita dresses and giant cleavers, and the absolute like the kind of joy that you expect to see on like a lady at a tea party in like some like Jane Austen story.
Yeah,
that's them with a cleaver wading into like bacteria infections.
It's amazing.
The platelets are adorable and just have a tendency to just sneak up on people and get them like caught up in clots because, well, you need something to hold shit together, which is just adorable. And yeah, like red and white are just good droogs that I enjoy watching interact.
Yep.
Like there's a whole episode where it's just white tagging, like sneaking around, checking up on red and like helping her out like clandestinely when she gets flustered or turned around and whatnot, which is just that's a nice thing to do.
Yep.
But yeah, it wasn't the bestest thing I've ever seen.
But it was solid.
But it was a solid show. The animation was competent and like did its job. Nothing spectacular. You're not going to get animation boner from this, but at the same time, you're not going to be clawing your eyes out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it was fun. I'd probably give it a solid B.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Like we've said, it knows what it is, and it doesn't try to overreach and be anything more than that. It's pure edutainment. It's not trying to be an education show with a massive, in-depth message or story tagged on. It's also not trying to be this huge, over-the-top story while trying to teach you something or anything like that. It is just doing what it does. as I say, my favorite part of it is again the characters and the world it's built
Mhm.
and how they translate, you know, how these cells work to how they would work
Yep.
in the body. Like another one we haven't mentioned was the memory cell, which again is part of the immune system because it's meant to remember past infections and allergies so that the immune system can respond. But because cells constantly, you know, reproduce and divide and expire and go over, if it was just one cell remembering everything, I know this, I've seen this before, respond like this, the body would be far too efficient. That's not what happens in real life. Yes, your body may know how to fight an infection if you get the same one you've previously had, but it takes a while for it to kick in. And they depict this by the memory cell basically being a fucking conspiracy theorist going through his lists of cryptic messages about a great cataclysm that happened once before and trying to work out what was going wrong again this time and how to stop it. And like the entire time tearing his head out, wondering his hair out, wondering if he's second guessing himself or whether the legends were true in the first place.
It's great.
Or when it's the same episode when the fucking steroids show up. It's an artificial like injection from, you know, beyond. When somebody takes a steroid nasal spray basically, and it turns out to be this fucking killer robot that just destroys everything.
Yeah, there's a
Definitely
lot of really,
clears the nose out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really well done visual storytelling in this show also.
But that's it. It's this is like I said when I was watching this. I never really finished an episode without a smile on my face
Right.
because it knows how to use that entertainment factor to get its message across and you know and deliver that you know the lesson basically and make you remember what you saw and why it does this and why it happened. It's actually a very very effective educational show basically.
Yep.
Exactly what it's supposed to be. But yeah, I like it. I like it. I may even look into the later episodes. It wouldn't be something we'd do again for this because again, if it's more of the same, sure. But like certain things, like the fucking coronavirus one, I'm just morbidly curious to have a look at that and see how they handle it. And you know what? If it teaches me how this fucking thing works, I'm all for that.
Yeah. So yeah, that sells at work. We all liked it. We all recommend it. Go check it out if you haven't already. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I guess I've got I'm next up on the rotation. I'm not sure yet exactly what I want to do. I'm waffling. I'm sort of looking at like several different things, going, do I feel like watching this? I don't know. So I'll have to decide by Saturday. But I don't know yet what I'm going to pick. So I unfortunately you will not know what we're going to be doing until the next episode. I might tweet it out at some point if I what have you. But yeah. But that's going to do it for this episode, I think. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you guys listening or what have you. If you're on YouTube, hi YouTube.
Hi YouTube.
If you enjoyed the episode on YouTube, throw us a like and maybe a subscribe, comment, feed the algorithm.
Validate us!
Let's validate us and feed the algorithm so that actually people actually see the goddamn show.
Feed the algorithm. It hungers.
Please help us survive the hellscape that is YouTube.
Yep.
That's going to do it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. Or
Bye.
afternoon or
Bye.
whatever. Bye.